Well, hello, everyone. I'm Jill Bloom, Group Publisher of Roofing Contractor, and thank you so much for joining me for a special Roofing Contractor Best of Success podcast show. And I'm so honored and thrilled to be joined by Jessica Reyna, the owner and marketing director of Kill Your Competition. Jessica, thank you so much for joining me.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Well, we've got some really exciting technology things to talk about today that every contractor needs to know about that's listening to us. So before we got on, we were talking about how AI and ChatGPT are really two different things. I kind of group them together as being one, but can you explain that and tell all the contractors, what do they need to know about AI and ChatGPT?
So ChatGPT is just one use case of AI. They are not synonymous. And actually, AI has been around for a very long time. And one of the most common things that people probably use that are listening is Google Translate. And that's a great example of AI. It's used in all kinds of things from production, quality control, all types of use cases across education as well. And another way that a lot of contractors might remember it is you might have seen some of these like weird directories on the internet and has incorrect information about your business. So people are finding it's got the wrong phone number, it's got wrong services, or something is wrong about it. And you have no way to change it. You have no way to contact these people because it's some company that owns this thing that's never going to respond to you. And you can't log in and claim these pages and clean up this data. And that was a use case where AI, using kind of the same technology as ChatGPT, would grab, and what they call is web scraping, grab that content off the internet and try to piecemeal it together without actually verifying it. ChatGPT, in a sense, can do the same thing. It'll grab different information across here and what it thinks is accurate or relevant, but it doesn't always mean that those citations can actually be sourced or fact-checked. And in fact, you might even have a source on there if you're writing something or using it to create content where it'll say, well, this is the source we got it from. And then when you go to actually get to the source, it's either locked or unavailable.
So interesting. So Jessica, I should have asked you this first, but tell everybody a little bit about yourself and how do you have the knowledge and the expertise to understand everything that we're talking about today?
So I've been using AI, I don't want to date myself, but for a long time now, primarily when I was first creating content years ago, probably more than a decade ago. And I was doing it with companies that we work with that do have customers that speak multiple different languages. And so we would use AI in that case to actually say, okay, is this kind of a base point where we have, and obviously we have to go to someone, what we realized very early on is there's going to be nuances in anything. So we would say, all right, here's our base, and then we would have an actual translation service. And for us, it was cheaper to have the translation service edit versus create all that copy, because while they're great at, there might be nuances, for example, in the roofing industry. So, and there's times also where even in Spanish and English, the Spanish speaking person may use specific English speaking words within that same content. And all of a sudden, if they see something, they're like, well, that isn't how I would speak. It loses its authenticity. And when you lose your authenticity, you're going to lose your credibility.
Sure.
Another time again was we would have a lot of contractors, and I remember seeing this probably as early as 2010, and they'd be like, hey, there's this information about me on the web, on the web, how do I fix it? YP was a great example. They used to do it when they were first building out listing services using other platforms and on different places. They would use that same web scraping process. The other time we saw web scraping is that there was companies out there, not good companies, but these marketing companies do and still exist, is they would do the same process with web scraping, using something similar to ChatGPT to pull that information and create content for different customers. And there's two ways that they did this. One is, let's say they have a mass amount of companies. So you see this much more often with large scale companies or companies that outsource. So they take that and they basically recycle that content over and over. And all they have to do then is just swap out maybe the name of your business or a geographic location. There's even companies that would sell books, like you can show that you're the expert of something, and they basically create the same book for all these different types of contractors, slap your face on there, your logo, and then they swap out the state or the region and information like that. So this has been around for a really long time, which is why probably again, at least a decade ago, Google really started focusing on what the content looks like. Is it really new? Is it really helpful? And instead of basically rehashing, and there's even published guidelines about all of this saying, you can't rehash, you can't recycle, it needs to be new and helpful, because while you can use these things, and let's say, and not that ChatGPT is the devil, it's not, it has its qualified use cases, But it has, just like anything, a dental tool is good and helpful, but I wouldn't use it to give myself, a evaluation on my heart.
Yeah,
So again, it needs to be
right.
used in the right use case. But let's say you use something, you create great content. If Google recognizes that it's low quality, rehashing, it's been pulled from somewhere else, it has that tools in there to recognize basically fancy plagiarism. And it will impact those rater guidelines. And what they're continuing to do is roll out more and more. And after Chat GPT was rolled out, they started rolling out more ways with using machine learning, which again goes back to AI, machine learning, using
Yep.
first party data to validate if you're copying, reusing, rehashing, all of that.
Got it. So how, if somebody doesn't even know hardly what Chat GPT is, and they're trying to just dip their toe in the water, where's the best place to start?
Well, there's a lot of companies that are using ChatGPT now in review response. So if you have a high volume of review response and you're like, gosh, there's companies out there that will pay other companies obviously to respond to these reviews in a thoughtful way, or you just don't have time. And you know that because Google makes everything public, that if you don't respond to these reviews, it hurts your ranking and your visibility score.
Right.
Well, now you have a way, Podium does it in Bird Eye, where they can literally like just go click there and it'll automatically respond to that review. And they are actually using ChatGPT in their software to respond to it. So that would be a good use case. But everyone, it's a very hot topic right now because marketers are pushing it as something new when it's
Right.
not new. What is new is different ways that it could be applied either in good or bad cases. Bad case, you're using it to build content on a website, but you have a third party platform that's saying, I want to go there. It's having, I'm trying to say how to say it without like having everyone burn down my house later. Hypothetical rank reports because they use third party data. And they're like,
Yeah.
look, this one that we use with fancy plagiarism, you're now #1, even though it goes everything against what Google has publicly posted. But we're not going to talk about that too far because that's a rabbit hole. But
Okay.
good use case, the review response, you're saving time, you're saving money, and you're being, it's not one that you're being dinged on. You will be dinged on if you don't respond to those reviews. I just had a
Okay.
conversation with a contractor recently this week, and I was like, hey, if you want to keep having people interact with your profile, you want to keep getting calls, you want to keep doing these things, you have to respond to those reviews. You have to get them
Yeah.
and respond. And that's a great, easy way that doesn't cost you extra using Podium or Bird Eye or whoever you choose to actually respond and stay within guidelines. And again, improve your business.
Got it. So let's just start just like super basic. So if somebody wants to set this up to respond to their reviews, step one is what?
You would need a software that already has it in place, or you need to sign up for ChatGPT.
Okay.
But the one thing I will caution against if you went directly to GPT versus the software is it's not going to have the context of that review. So you could say write a review about whatever versus the one where it's connected to the platform.
Okay.
It will have the context to build a response.
Sounds great. Well, there's a lot to learn. There's a lot of marketing ideas here that it seems to be endless in good directions and bad directions, as we were talking about. But that is awesome. So you either get the software or, well, yeah, it doesn't sound like you can just go directly to ChatGPT because you need the context.
You need context. There are other ways that you can utilize AI within a marketing space. For example, there's a company called Waymark. But again, they use first party stuff that you have. So it might be pictures from your Facebook or, company cam or whatever it is that you have, different videos. And you basically have it and it will create videos for you, nice videos. In fact, Spectrum, who is a huge cable company, does a lot of marketing, runs them on TV and OTT and online video, but it takes your stuff so you don't lose that authenticity by using stock. And that's a great way where you have the voiceover, it looks nice, you put it together. So if you don't have the budget to create videos, it's a very simple way to do it, keeping your authenticity, keeping your voice, because all of a sudden, if you use ChatGPT entirely, especially to make content, which is the most common use case I've been hearing lately, is that you all sound the same. It's gathering from the same sources, same information. So all of a sudden, every roofer sounds the same. So you're already having hard enough time competing, right? And then you're competing, especially if you don't have a way to build your brand out in a large scale way. Let's say you're just doing Google Ads, you're just doing Facebook. Okay, you're all saying the same thing. We have a great roof. It's not going to leak. We have a wonderful warranty. We're going to treat you right. for family owned. Everybody says that, okay? But then there's the experience that you offer that does set you apart and other things like that. Well, all of a sudden, you all look the same. You all have the same offers online. Then they go to your content on your website, and every single one of you sound the same. And so all you are doing then is you're racing to the bottom on price.
Oh, well, no one wants to race to the bottom. That's not okay.
No, that's not. It's definitely not a long-term strategy.
Well, that is great advice, Jessica, and awesome. So step one, make sure you either have this, get the software, it sounds like, so you can implement ChatGPT, at least for your reviews. That's a great idea. Well, listen, if anybody has any questions, what's your website? How do people get a hold of you?
It's killyourcompetition.today. So not .com, .today. We like to be complicated. Just kidding. No.
All right. And I think you need to tell the story. How did you come up with the name Kill Your Competition?
Okay. So we actually started off as an agency, Media Evolution, Devil Dog websites back in 2010. And my husband and I realized within 1 year that, gosh, web design and marketing go hand in hand. We should probably merge them. So we became Devil Dog. And that was great because we were always around military and we were veteran focused because we are a veteran owned business. And then we moved to beautiful sunny Florida in 2012, 2013. And all of a sudden everyone thinks we're Satan worshipers. So
no.
Yeah, we even volunteered to give like free websites to churches, and they're like, we can't use anyone who has the name devil. And then my daughter, I couldn't get her into a Christian preschool, and she's actually 1 year behind because of it. Because we had, as soon as they saw the name of our business, suddenly there was an army of children who had already signed up within the 15 minutes we arrived to do the registration. So we're like, all right, with the exception of one church that finally let us come in, they're a Baptist church, they're a little more welcoming. Anyways, so our slogan was kill your competition. So we're like, you know what, let's just try it. And if you've seen the Florida news, you know, kill is an okay word, which is horrible to say. So you can say kill in Florida, you know, we hunt, we fish, we do whatever, and we have Florida man stories. You just can't say devil. So a couple years ago, we actually closed down Devil Dog, and we've been Kill Your Competition since 2015.
It's such a great story. That's awesome. Well, killyourcompetition.today. All right. Well, and if anybody has any questions for us, it's roofingcontractor.com or wconline.com. And while you're there, make sure you sign up for all our free content so you can stay up to date in all the great interviews we're doing, like we are today with Jessica. But most importantly, stay safe and healthy, and we can't wait to talk to you soon. Jessica, thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.